Hello YouTube, Damo_23 here and welcome back to another episode of Glory Hunter. No, another episode of Leicester Reborn. I'll eventually just get it to roll off the tongue. With that being said, in today's episode, it's either the end of the season to show you where we finish or it's an FA Cup final. It's a bit too early to tell. I have just knocked Man United out of the FA Cup in the quarterfinal, and if you remember last episode, I was complaining a little bit what we do with Velez. Just put him up front because he's very good when he's up front, and Smith Rowe is very good at feeding balls in. We did knock him out. We're a little bit lucky, but it does mean we're off to the semi-final against Leeds. Important to note, it's very likely this episode will be an FA Cup final because Arsenal play Sheffield. We have a very good record against Arsenal, and somehow if Sheffield get through, would have a championship side in the final. Now, with that being said, I still have to beat Leeds, but the main reason we're here so early is look at NXGN. I will be going through this and obviously having a look and seeing how things go, but inside the top 10, we have got 4 footballers, 3 of them in the top 3. So Hassan is the winner of NXGN, as you can see here, so we're going to give him his little bit of history. Garen Qual should have won it last year, didn't, but he won European Golden Ball. Hassan wins it. He's, over all the stats, 73 dribbles and 102 key passes and 44 appearances. Ain't too bad. He has been fantastic. Do disregard the downward arrows. He is a world-class winger. Deserves to win World Golden Ball. He's fantastic. He's immense. He's got 11 goals and 10 assists. Out of the left-hand side, only cost me 12 mil. He'll be here long-term, especially when we start doing our rebuilds. But important to note, in second place is Luis Guilherme Silva, finished in the top 10 last year, and who we picked up. He is worth quite a hefty little bit of money at the moment. Scoring goals, playing off the bench, plays up front, plays off the right. I love him. You guys do too. He's very fantastic. The one I'm worried about, though, is Adam Lynch. He hasn't really developed. He's never got past 2-star. I really do think he's the sort of player that just needs to be playing consistently to become good. I am very tempted to train him to become left back so he can play next year in the first 11 side and use Thomas off the bench for him. And at least that way there, then off we go. There's part of me that also wants to spend this $114 million on maybe a left back, like a Destiny U doggy, for instance, or maybe if the likes of a Mendes from PSG, or one of those big boys, because I think it's the last missing piece of the world-class left back, and we would go on to win the Premier League and challenge for everything else. But look, Adam Lynch for me finishes in third. He has got the most potential. He's a very fantastic footballer, and it's always nice to have inside next year to have the top 3 all sorted. Lucky last, we got Velez here as well. He's finished 6th. I think this guy can win NXGN next year if he develops well enough. We've spoken about him a lot. He's my 6'7" striker. I love him to bits. It's all about, for me, if the physicals get there. If they get there, if all those physicals get to 15 plus, he's going to be unstoppable. There is a world where it happens, but we really need him to develop well. We really need him to get the acceleration kick started. We kind of needed to get it to 12 by now. It hasn't. Hopefully down the track it will. But yeah, as long as we get the pace to 15 and everything else, it's a broken record with me and him. But there we are. Outside of that as well, we got one more player, and that is Yaya. For those wondering how he's gone out on loan, he's actually done He had a very good start. Not the best on returns, but a 6.98 is nothing to be scoffed at. If you look at his development over this time, in terms of his development, we won't be able to see it here. The loan report, though, in terms of form, is fine. But his development's been not too bad. I wish we could show you kind of his little graphs and how he's been going. But a lot of these stats are like 13s, they're 14s now. He's very well rounded. This guy will be off the bench for me next year. He is going to be immense, and this is another guy that could become really, really, really good a long term in the save as well. So look, quite a number of players in NXGN. Hassan's been done very well. The Colombian Lukaku is, of course, Mr. Velez at 6'7". If he turns out to be anywhere like Lukaku, on FM, Lukaku is the GOAT. If people have not used Lukaku on FM, you're missing out, because this guy is outrageous on Football Manager and does a very good job, and he's currently out of the contract, is he? I'm telling you what, if he gets released on a free, it might just be a world where I get Lukaku in, Velez off the bench, and put him in a mentoring group together. With that being said, though, guys, I'll be with you guys with probably the FA Cup final. We never know, we could lose the Leeds. Or the end of the season if it does get interesting. I will just note out here quickly, we are 11 points back. We're actually in third. I don't think we're going to be in that fight. But look, we'll be back with one of those games and one of those episodes. A pretty good NXGN though. It's the first time in a long while if I've had the top 3 in NXGN. YouTube, here we are before we play the semi-final of the FA Cup, which obviously if we get through to the final, I'll show you next part, and then it'll be this episode. We have actually signed some people through NXGN that I've gone through, scouted, done my own little bit of scouting as well here. Just before I go to bed, we found a couple of players. Firstly, Naaf Abad. Look, very good winger. Saudi international at 17 years of age. Only wanted a cheap deal to come in from the Saudi club. As you can see here, quite well rounded at quite a young age. My plan with him is to put him in the under 21, see if he develops, and then obviously look to play him where possible as well. 6'1", very physical, could be a very good winger moving forward. Try not to buy too many wingers. I do think we're way too top heavy, but it creates a good aspect and a good problem where if everyone's in form down the track as the under 21s get a bit stronger, it'll be fine. As you can see here, this is what the deal was. It was 8 mil fee, 2.5 mil, 1.6 after 10 goals. So pretty cheap fee, 30% profit, and apparently to a range of friendly down the line. Saw a rule at some point. I don't mind either doing that. Second one was Now Dino. Now Dino wasn't on Next Gen, but I did my own scouting as always. I always like looking for players 15 to 17 because if you get them in and they stay at the football club, they do become homegrown. There's a couple other players in this list, but they're mainly strikers. And I obviously would much rather centre backs, etc. Actually, Peter's on the list, and I think he's very good, so I'm going to go for him as well. We go in for Now Dino. He had a release fee of 9.75 mil, 9.8 mil. So that was all straight up front. Now Dino is a ball-winning midfielder and looks quite the part, and I have signed another ball-winning midfielder alongside him as well in this. I have signed 4 players. As you can see here, he's very well-rounded. Yet again, lots of 12s and 13s. Another one to put in the under 21s with his other Brazilian mate, Marcos Vinicius, who has played one game for us already in the league, who I think could be quite the centre-back moving forward. Yet again, same thing. Put him on the under 21s, give him a couple years, hopefully becomes homegrown at the football club for the Champions League down the track as well. And this is why I like signing these younger talents, where I don't like loaning out too many. At the moment, we have a very strong homegrown core, but that will probably change as time goes on. So with that being said, I want to make as many as homegrown as possible here at the football club. But yeah, Now Dino looks very good, and there he is. The other one was, his name was Reyes, and where is Reyes? Reyes here signing for Leicester, as you can see. 5 mil was the fee, and 30% of next profit is all they wanted. Another defensive midfielder. He was on Next Gen last year, Next Gen again this year. Just turned 18 and was interested in coming. Very similar to Now Dino. If anything, he's a bit more well-rounded and probably will be more around the first team next year. As you can see, quite good at mentals, very well-rounded physicals, and already got good amounts of ability. More of a ball player than a ball-winning midfielder. But the beauty of having Now Dino and Reyes, one plays ball winner, the other one could play Segundo Volante or a deeper line playmaker and support, whichever one we want to use, because they're both very similar in what they do. Lucky last one, though, is one that I am very excited about, and he's English, and he's Australian, and here he is. His name is Kane Fuller. Now, he's at Charlton at the moment playing in the Championship before we get to his stats. 26 games, 5 goals. Charlton, not having the greatest of years, it has to be said. They're down in 13th, so for an average Championship side, he's playing a bit, which is good. Now, he's Australian and capped by Australia, but he's also English as well, which means he's homegrown at the football club, as in here. His debut for Australia was against Germany. We're getting him in at 18 before he turns 19 as well, which means he becomes homegrown. He's playing next year. Now, he's not playing up front. For me, he'd be playing in the hole. I think he's a very good attacking midfielder and support bar the passing, which we can work on. But for me, the reason why I'm most excited by him is look at the mentals, look at the physicals, and tell me how well-rounded they are. At 18 years of age, I say that anything that is 12 plus will get to 15 as long as you develop it and give them game time. That's why I'm so excited by Velez. That's why I'm a little bit more excited by Nelsino and especially Reyes. That's why I'm very excited by that Vinicius centre-back that we signed in part of the football club, and Shaquille Phillips. And that's why we go after that talent, because even if they play under 21s and play consistent minutes, they generally will develop. And then when they get in the first team, they'll definitely crack on. He, however, will be your backup 10 next year for sure. And this is the reason why. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stats. Only 6 stats of 15 plus. However, look how many are well-rounded. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Discount leadership because that never goes up. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. There's potential for 22 total stats of 15 plus. The most I've ever had on player is 21, and that was with Nildo at SFB. We had a couple 20s with Aristobal and Glory Hunter. He could be my first ever 22. And he would be then my greatest player that I've ever used on paper. Reason why I love him in the hole is I just think he'd be mentally fantastic. I think he'd be physically sound. If anything, you play him as a shadow striker and you get away with it. And if you put him up front, advanced forward, not bad. Pressing forward, if we ever went to it, perfect. Perfect pressing forward. As good as a pressing forward as you could hope for. If we ever went to up top with Velez being a target man, he would be the guy alongside him as a pressing forward for sure. I think that he is a very good option to have. Also feel like that's if we really wanted to with him because of how rounded it is. Even though his technicals wane, you probably could even train him to play Segunda Volante on support. Even though he couldn't do the defensive side, he's very good at what he does. So look, Kane Fuller, well-rounded, fantastic footballer. And obviously this episode is more focused on next gen, etc. FA Cup final hopefully coming in the not too distant future. And I'll give you the result against Leeds as well in just a second. As expected, guys, we are in the final. We're playing Arsenal, and that's going to be the main game of this episode, unless the league gets a little bit more interesting, which I highly doubt it will. But you never know. Liverpool could go on a losing streak. We absolutely pumped Leeds 4-0. Only thing out about that is that we lost Smith Rowe for the next 3 weeks, but he should be back for the final. Let's go and have a look at the goals because Velez had a day out. And where are we? Goals. There we go. Jorge Luis Velez had a day out. His first goal, albeit slightly lucky to get the ball back, is exceptional from the big man. The turning circle is outrageous. Watch this. Picks it up. Has 4 guys around him, and they send them all to, all to dreamland. He just turned them all inside out and finished with a plum. It was superb. Then from there, we get pretty lucky with the rest of the goals. Like, we dominated, but in typical Football Manager fashion, it's the, it's the ones where you have the deflected shots and deflected crosses that fall back to you. Like that one there, deflection, and we win the ball back, and Velez is by himself in a good spot. The next one's a free kick, which hits the post, and goes in, or is this... this one is a clearance that we pick off here with Thuram, and he puts it in. Great finish from Keffer and Thuram. And this last one, Garcia, young little Garcia, a hot prospect, does score. Lavia with a fantastic free kick, full swim. We missed a lot of big chances, like one-on-ones and stuff like that. Smith Rowe came off. Garcia played 45 or so as well. But look, we look good. I'm very happy with that. Always nice to... an excuse to have a look at Thomas Garcia, who I may loan out next year, may keep around as a backup. I do not know. He's fantastic on either side, and the fact we picked him up on a free is a joke. Look, we're into the final, and that's exactly where we'll be, and I'll be live for that final as it's 11 p.m. at night, so that will be tomorrow sort of things as well. But with that being said, next time you'll see me, FA Cup final, unless somehow this has got absolutely close and dire in terms of with the title. And for the first time in a long while, the FA Cup finals a week before the season ends. That is very odd as well. Alright, YouTube, it is morning of me going to work, and it's the morning of the FA Cup final. As you can see from this screen, firstly, there is a lot of fitness tests going on because the squad's been a little bit shaky with fitness, a few niggling injuries, etc. But the boys are up for this one here. Secondly, league is officially over. As you can see, Liverpool got to 91 points. They've had a phenomenal year. We're on 82, could get to 85, and, yet again, United got 93 last year. We would have won the league the year before and would have tied out for this one. I will say that I have been rotating the squad, but the results haven't been too bad. Since we last met, which was obviously recapping results, etc. as well. There's your run. We've had a pretty good run. We actually beat Liverpool at home, beat Fulham, beat Newcastle. Obviously, Leeds is what you saw. We've been rotating because why not? As you can see here, look at the players that started here. Vinicius, Giuliano, Stavro in the middle, Garcia, Velez, Lynch. A lot of players there that have notes on them that are very, very good. We did the same thing against West Ham as well, as you can see here. Slightly more full strength, but pretty similar. Actually, no, that was the same game, same team. A few days later, we won 4-1. And then 3-0 against Leeds, we went more full strength, apologies. But Vinicius played, Giuliano played, Stavro played in the middle because he was injured. Garcia played again and got a hat-trick of assists. Or was that the game before we got a hat-trick of assists? He got some assists over this time. He's really developing really well. and has to be said there as well. Like, look at him there. He looks fantastic. 2 assists maybe. Was it 2 assists or hat-trick and assists? Garcia, 2 assists. There we go. Giuliano scored from a deflected shot. And then we played Wolves, where I went full strength and we drew 0-0. Unfortunately, in that game too, we picked up a couple of knocks there, too, for us. Nothing major, for us as well. But, obviously getting a little bit of rotation in, which means that Elise's playing with an injection because he just hurt himself taking penalties yesterday. Smith Rowe's not 100%, nor is Lavia, but they're both back for the final. I just want to highlight a couple of people on the bench. Lynch obviously got a knock as well, starting to develop again. For me, I worry that he stagnates too much. And I'm very much worried in this save, as much as we want to build people for the future, a lot of the players just stagnate, which makes no sense because we have world-class facilities. He's Garcia's been looking fantastic. Velez's pace has got up to 12, which is good, and hopefully continues to grow. By the way, I find him enough times his work rate's up to 15. I think I've mentioned that. Silva's been doing whatever, but these are the players I want to speak about here. Stavro's been developing quite well. As you can see, he's very well-rounded, physically now well-rounded, 19 years of age. He's the sort of guy that I think is good on paper, but will never be 100% fantastic. He probably needs to start getting minutes in and around the first team shortly. Marcos Vinicius has been so impressed with. Have a look at him here. So well-rounded, mentally developing out of this world. His marking's already up to 13, so they're going to... Marking, positioning, and decisions probably going to get to 15s, which is very good. For me, yet again, he lacks a little bit of pace, but outside of that, he's actually really good whenever he has played at centre-back. 6.9 over 4 games is not bad at all for him. Phillips has been developing locally off the bench as well. Hasn't been getting as many minutes. Obviously had that fantastic start to his career. Do think he's an option for the future. Don't get me wrong. I think he's been great. Giuliano, though, is the last one to speak about. He's mentally taken off. We've trained him to play right back from being a ball-winning midfielder. He's now natural in that. Does lack a little bit of tackling, a little bit of marking, but he's so well-rounded. He's one to watch out for because I think he could become very good. However, there is a part of me that will go after maybe a 19-year-old English player from Southampton because they just officially got relegated. His name is S. Carter, who's starting for him. Played 34 games in the Premier League, and I think I could talk this guy into being a rotation option and sell Justin James, and I could get him for 37 mil for his release fee. Justin James probably go out for 20 mil, and it's a net spend of, 17 mil to get a guy that's that good, and he could become even better, and he's English. Yeah, I'm definitely thinking that is what we're going to do there as well. So, look, boys are in pretty good shape. For those wondering how we got to the FA Cup final, you guys have pretty much seen the last couple of rounds. But, we beat Middlesbrough, Rochdale, West Ham, United. Obviously, you guys saw us beat Leeds, and here we are. If we go to Arsenal Football Club, let's go have a look at them. They currently sit 4th, and, they do... We're waiting on United to play their game in hand to see if they are going to be in 4th, but they'll probably finish top 5, which will be Champions League. They got Burton, Salford, Aston Villa, West Brom, Sheffield United, so a pretty easy run for them into the final as well. Lastly, important to note here too, I know that we got knocked out by Bayern Munich. Now, if we do all that, we go back to this. We got knocked out by Bayern Munich, as you can see. Bayern Munich. Jeez, made me scroll a fair bit down. They made the final. Yet again, they just knocked Liverpool out in the semi for the 2nd consecutive year in a row, and they got Porto in the final. So something tells me that Bayern Munich are about to win the Champions League again. All right, without further ado, FA Cup final. Let's get into it. It's Meslier, Livramento, Tomori, Marta, and Thomas. Lavia, Tarama. Lise playing with the injection. Smith Rowe is playing in that good out of his skin. He's 8.56 in his last little bit. 14 goals in 25 games for him this season, which is outrageous. Only 1 assist, which makes no sense. He's got 8 assists in all competitions, but yeah, very low amount of assists. Hassan's been a little bit, in and out the team with a few knocks as well, so not 100% fit. And look, if Velez gets going, he'll be fantastic up front, and away we go. It's our 3rd FA Cup final in a row. I think we have to beat Arsenal. I think if this team's not called Liverpool that we're playing, we need to beat them. And we need to put in a good performance. Last thing that I want to say before we get out there as well is I think that, if we don't win this FA Cup final, it's a bit of a stagnation season, as their teams Turner, Whites, Lieber, Fiat, and Zinchenko, you great, Martin Nunes, Odegaard, Havertz on the right, Gabriel Jesus on up front, and I believe it was Martinelli on the left. No Saka, he is injured. They messaged me in a press conference about that. But yeah, if we don't win today, I think the season's been too much of a stagnation. Didn't get past the round of 16 in the Champions League. Yes, we drew Bayern. Maybe we should put more emphasis on making sure we finish top 8. So we get a seeded draw. But there's a lot of good teams in the Champions League. Cabaret Cup final. I know we lost Liverpool. I know that we played decently well, and Liverpool just dominated. But I feel like that because it's one of the competition we need to win, we needed to have won something this year that mattered, and we didn't. And obviously, look, we're going to finish second again in the league, but it really does highlight that we're not quite there just yet. As Odegaard finds Elise, Turner, who apparently is on 11th free run without conceding a goal, makes a mistake. We lead 1-0 here at Wembley in the FA Cup final in a night game. Very weird to have a night FA Cup game before the end of the season. Usually it's the end of the season and you play after round 38, match day 38. But yeah, look, it is what it is. We lead 1-0 inside 10 minutes here. I usually play these games live, so links down below. I'm not live right now, obviously. I'm about to go to work. I'm about to have a shower, get changed, and off I go. Main reason for me doing that is, I think the season's pretty much over. I want to, when I get home tonight, have a bit of a big scouting sort of session, look at some talents, and, we've got 70 mil to spend, but, have a chat with my Twitch chat about do we go and spend that on first-class talent for now, or do we look for the future as Martinelli hits the post and Tomori clears? Still in two minds because I really like the idea of making this kind of like very homegrown, very English-based, very, a lot of guys that are 18 years of age in the football club and developing. I also want to, get some of pre-season simming this morning while I'm editing, so then we can, work on pre-season and seeing a lot more of the youngsters playing minutes. Lavia with Thomas, who's had a very good year. It's Thomas and Lavia and Smith Rowe. Gets picked off by Odegaard, and here he comes. Ball out to Martinelli. Finds Gabriel Jesus. His ball inside to Havertz. Great save from Meslier. That's world class. And he's had a fantastic year. And, Meslier's not leaving anytime. We have we have Preston, who's developing. We've got, obviously, Ramos, the Spanish Englishman that come through the academy this year. And they're all players of note as Livramento clears off the goal line. Arsenal have started to dominate here. So let's not talk about, next season or whatever. Arsenal have started to dominate here. After going 1-0 down, Arsenal have really come out the blocks here and probably should be at 1-1. They missed a big chance there with the save from Meslier, and they've hit the bar as well. With that being said, though, we lead 1-0, and it's a fantastic result. The fans deserve the trophy, so let's go get it for them. We haven't won it in a couple of years, but this is our third year in a row in the FA Cup final, which is, fantastic. I don't think I've made 3 FA Cup finals in a row in England, which is pretty good. Usually I get to the point where once I win it, I don't try to bin it off, but I try to get to the quarterfinal and lose, so the board are like, oh, you reached the later stage, just happy, and then get it out the way. 70 minutes played though. A lot of boys a bit injured and with some knocks, etc. We're getting a bit tired out there. Good tackle from Thuram. You great into Gabriel Jesus. Martinelli driving. And Thuram gets himself sent off. Well, this just throws some spanner in the works, doesn't it? Okay, so let's go and talk about what we can do here. Let's go into this. We're going to get Elise off here for Ronnie. We're going to get Garcia off for Son. I don't like doing that. Going to get Garcia in there and get Son to go in as a deep line playmaker and support. With ball winning midfielder and support. A lot of tired legs. Velas isn't too tired. I want to bring him off but to give Silva some minutes because he's come back from injury. But I might go a little bit more long ball sort of thing. Drewsbury Hall's going to come in here and I am going to take out Lavia just to give some fitness out there. And I'm actually going to take Luke Thomas off and get James Justin in as a wing back on support. We're going to go to a bit more balanced and we are going to go actually a little bit more longer and a bit more direct with a higher tempo. Don't need to do that, but pass it into space. Play for a set piece as well. We're going to target to the target man and go long and hopefully get a flick on. And we're going to go to mid block that. Don't get stuck in. Don't step up more. Don't trap inside. And we're going to go to something like that. And we're going to get these boys here to just help out and build up. Now, the main reason why Lynch hasn't come on is because he has got a knock. And we're going to go to that. And I'm going to put Rooney out there, who I'm thinking of selling for next season because he hasn't really developed. He's apparently only a 3-star player. And there we are. Now, look, we have not played well in this FA Cup final, but after losing to Liverpool a few times at Wembley now, we deserve a little bit of luck and deserve to see this game out. Alright, with that being said, there's not long left to go here. I am going to bring Velas off for Silva, and that's also a move that I would make, just in case it gets to extra time. Time ticks away, and look, a pretty boring FA Cup final. We went down to 10 men as Thuram decided he wanted to double foot someone, but we hold out for a 1-0 lead, and that's all that matters. We are champions of the FA Cup for a second time in the save. We're still yet to win the Premier League. We're still yet to win the Carabao Cup. And obviously this year, the Champions League, we faltered massively by only reaching the round of 16, which the board is still happy with. Meslier picks up the FA Cup trophy. He's in pretty safe hands. Arguably man of the match with a couple of big saves today. But we have got ourselves another FA Cup title. I'm very happy with all the joy there, boys. We're going to go and end the season off, off stream, off cam, because it's only one game to go. We can't win anything. But I'm very happy with that. It's a very good end to the season. Was it a failure? I don't think it was a failure because we won a competition this year. But I'm hoping for a bit more. Hopefully next year, with the development of these under-21s a touch more, we go on and go one step further in the Carabao Cup. And maybe, just maybe, mercifully, we could go on maybe a slightly better run in the league. You have a look at the team performance. We are underperformed our goals, and we should have scored the most goals in the league by a mile, and we're under our XJ. And with the points that we're expected, we should be top right now. Unfortunately, that's not how the cookie crumbles. Liverpool are 18 plus points on where they're meant to be. And that's because they defended so well and scored so many goals. If we were a little bit more consistent, this title would have went down to the wire. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much. Have a great day.